I had a great start to the week, making over $1,200, just keeping it simple, not overthinking my trades and talking myself out of a good trade and just letting the plan play out. Let's take a look at my trades here. First of all, this one was actually the first one pre-market at 818. Now again, I probably trade 90% of my trades after the New York Open. There's just that 10% of the time when the structure is that clean pre-market. If I were to tell you that this happened at 2 p.m., you would understand why I took this trade, because structurally it's off my key view ups of the overnight view up here pre-market, holding up nice higher highs and higher lows. You have not one break of a high day view up, but sellers trying to take it back, but buyers defend it with another higher low. They step back in, just clean identifiable trend. I want to take a swing at a pre-market, not too much size, and we get a nice pop for a real new high day, but I got out at the current high day. So that was pre-market, setting up the morning, already up on the day. So that's going to make it maybe a little bit easier to trade the open and let things shake out, not need to rush into trades. But if you look at the markets here, this was probably the trade of the day and the biggest lesson of the day. And I know a lot of people maybe got not beaten up of taking too many losses, but maybe because we have a nice new low a day be made here, not chasing the first break outside open range low. You guys know I don't want to trace that, especially after it's like 10 candles straight down. Those often don't sustain, first of all. And second of all, I want to get a pullback so I get a better structure for my stop loss. We have no breaks of the low a day view up here in purple, which we have anchored to the low a day. Then we let it pull back to a key level. In this case, the New York view up, and then once sellers defend that level and break the open range low a second time and the low a day view up a second time, that would be your entry in and around here. Okay, so we're short. Stop loss would have to go at structure, and that right here is the only structure we have to work with. Previous structure would be well up here at high a day. We don't want to be doing all that. But if you give it the proper stop, you should survive this trade. This next retest to New York view up doesn't tap you out. It actually breaks low a day view up again. Sellers take it back, but they cannot hold it, and they give it up right away, but it doesn't make a higher high. We're still forming these lower highs on top. Sellers are still in control. My stop loss is still safe. Until that's hit, my trade's not invalidated, so I have to sit through this. I know while you're in this trade and you're sitting through the chop and it's not able to break a lower day view up for now the second or third time, you're convincing yourself to get out of the trade. You're saying it's not going to be a good one. Let me minimize my loss. But maybe you're just afraid to lose, or maybe you're not zooming out and saying, well, what's still happening? It's still falling on the day. It's still building lower highs. My stop loss would tell me when I no longer want to be short, because then maybe we would be making higher lows and higher highs. But that hasn't come in yet. It's just not moving at my speed. When we're in these trades, it feels like it's moving in slow motion. It's so easy to look back on this markup and say, oh, wow, that was quick. Break of a new low a day, and then like 10, 20 minutes later, it breaks again, and then it's all profit. But when you're in this trade and it's sitting like this for 20, 30 minutes, it feels like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and an eternity, because you don't know what to do. You don't want to lose. You're getting teased on a break of a low a day, but it still can't hold. But just zoom out, detach from the loss, detach from the win as well. What is structure still telling you? Would you rather be long or short here? Well, it's still falling on top. Yes, we'll take a look at the charts here in a second, that the daily view up was being held. That could maybe definitely question yourself. I think just keeping it simple. If I'm in a short, I'm reading structure on top. I'm not too concerned with are these going to be higher highs and higher lows, because we're still forming bearish structure on top. That's my bias is short, so I want to focus on the trend above me. I'm not focused on these higher lows below me, because clearly they weren't higher lows. The next lower low is here, and then we form that next lower low as the bearish structure was forming, right? And inversely for a long, I'm not worried about lower highs. As long as I'm still making higher lows underneath me for a long, I like the trade. And then sellers finally able to take that control and make a new low a day. This was the next one. If you got beat up in all that chop, or just sitting sideways and you just got stopped out, or you pulled it too early, it then does make a strong new low a day after that win. This is on a 2 minute just to condense it a little bit, but it's a nice decent pullback, not off a key level by any means, but it's a pullback. Break of low a day view up again, and then another nice new low a day. So if you couldn't trade that trend earlier, as was maybe too slow for you and then it left the building without you, there were still other opportunities over here to maybe even anchor a low a day view up there and trade that short as well. So let's go over the charts here, because there's a couple of good lessons on this one. The blue view up you see running across here, this is that trade we're just looking at, right? I know there's some people that took this trade, got stopped out maybe like that, or they take the second break of a low a day view up, and again, hug the stop loss at that current structure, and you get just pinned out. If you just give it that space in the middle of the range, let it still form those lower highs, you should still survive, because it's going to be very tough to time it perfectly that you shorted exactly there, right? Knowing that that's the time it's going to break. So all we got to do is just give it a healthy stop to give it all the room it needs before it wants to eventually fall like we think it wants to, right? If we take a look at the 15-minute though, the reason this was a tougher short, looking at the 15-minute side of things, we were holding this daily view up very nicely overnight. You saw my pre-market long came up off this VWAP because that's normally where the moves happen from. So that's why I longed it. And we're still holding it here as well when we're in that short. And it only cracks lower once it's able to break below the daily view up and send us for a new low a day. So that's why the shorts were a little tricky, but we had some stats against us that we probably don't break the initial balance twice. We're holding New York. Sellers couldn't or buyers couldn't sustain that pop at the open. It looked like it was just going to be a bull flag and then wipe off all the buyers, and then we're just going to move lower. But you see the afternoon come up higher here, back above that previous day's New York VWAP and the overnight VWAP. One thing for that, there's a few things, but the first and main thing, zooming out on the 15-minute, I am very long biased. We're still making higher highs and higher lows. If you look at the structure here, and we did not take out a yesterday's low. So I'm not really fully bearish, like overall big picture, but you can still scalp some money short, no doubt about it. That why did this price action maybe come up higher in the afternoon? Well, overall, we're not really in a bearish trend quite as much in the past week or so. This just looks like our next higher low that we're building off of, and maybe now we go get that higher high. So with structure still being bullish, that's why I am leaning for longs, but when the view up on the lower time frame isn't matching that, it's tough to just force those longs. Another reason is if you look at structure here, we actually took out the previous day's high. When that happens, it's an outside bar day. When we take out the previous day's high, there's a great, I think 75 to 80% chance that day wants to end the day bullish. So that sell-off to sustain would really be unlikely, right? 25% of the time or so. And if you mark off the price from the open, we end the day ever so bullish. So it did in fact end the day bullish like the stats said it would, but it did not break for a new high a day, right? Just barely. I mean, if we go to the daily chart here, you'll see just barely a bullish bar. You can't even see it. So tough price action there, but overall, it is tough price action on this 15-minute of making a new high a day, coming back down, but the shorts don't just sell off forever. It actually remains an outside bar day to the upside and swings back up. But it doesn't swing all the way back up because if you look at the stats on Edgeful as well, the break of initial balance, we have that as well here. On the break of initial balance, low is going to be, I think, over here because the IB low is down here. Once we break one side, we probably only break one side. There's only like a 15% chance that it comes all the way back up to break this top. And if you look at the end of the day price action, it doesn't quite. A nice bull rally here in the afternoon, but buyers couldn't bring it all the way up for a new high a day to initial balance high because we probably don't break both sides. And again, hopefully you're done trading by this hour anyways because you made money in these nice shorts, but definitely tougher price action with the VWAP pinch of the daily VWAP, but the 1 minute is telling me to sell it. But I just really want to get the point across on sitting through your trades and not talking yourself out of what is a good trade. I think helping it would be detach yourself from the trade. Would you want to be a buyer here, right? I mean, it could be saying there's a double bottom, but realistically, we cannot get above this New York VWAP. Buyers couldn't even hold us outside the open range high for more than a minute. And then we're still making these lower highs. I still have to lean short buys because I know me personally, this is not the structure where I long it. This is not where I put in a buy and we make a new high a day. It's normally coming after clean, higher highs and higher lows, and I'm jumping in before the next higher high comes in. That's my long, not seeing a bearish sell-off and then another pump lower, and now I'm going to long it. That's just not the structure I traded. This structure is still falling, telling me, hey, you're probably just better off trading these lower highs back in the direction of this short-term trend. So that's why you keep looking for shorts until told otherwise. To find longs today, let this pop higher. Don't need to catch that. Then once you see the bullish structure forming and continuing, then just jump in on the next leg. There's no harm in just missing a move that maybe wasn't super clear. But until it becomes clear, stick with the short buys. Don't talk yourself out of trades. But more importantly, don't put too tight of a stop loss or talk yourself out of a trade just so you can take a smaller loss. Hopefully you're not too high of risk and your stop loss is where you'd want to be out. Anything in drawdown obviously sucks, but I put my stop losses for the most part where I know I want to be out of this trade. Until it hits that, my trade may be threatened of getting stopped out, but it's not wrong or invalid yet. I still like the direction over the opposite. So you got to sit through it. But again, hopefully you guys found value in that and made some money in it today. We also had the top 1 code still running 50% off if you need new accounts with them. The profit targets have changed, but also on stream. Austin had some nice scalps this morning. on the long side and the downside, because quick management. He's not married to 1R. But if you want to join the streams the rest of the week, make sure you use code Evan. We actually have Zach's coming on. We have a nice lineup coming on of guests coming on all the time. So if you want to use code Evan, you get access to the courses as well as the live streams. And we'll walk you through these trades as we're in them, as we're being patient for the next setup, this setup, all those good things. But make sure you keep an eye on that 15-minute. It's definitely a key part of my trading. You've seen plenty of my videos speaking about that as well. Matching the 15-minute with the 1 minute to both be in agreement is where our best trades come when the structure is aligned on both of them. So trade safe, follow your rules. I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.